Welcome back, YouTubers, to another topical video with me, your Smackdown representative, Mr. Parkin01. Your brand needs you. And this guy sitting next to me, he is the Eric Bischoff jacket mark that is representing none other than the A-Show Raw. By the way, very deserving of that A-Show, as you are, like, you know, pretty much 66% of the British Fist. It's NJ!
What's up?
What's up, indeed? In today's video, as you can tell by our attire and the way we did this last year, we did this exact same video last year. As the draft is coming up in a couple of weeks, we are going to be doing our very own draft. I'm representing Smackdown. I'm botching like John Laurinaitis. By the way, we both answer to John Laurinaitis now, don't we? There ain't no separate GMs this time. We both answer to the same GM. But anyway, subscribe above, like this video, and get any thoughts you have on the upcoming draft or who you would draft to either show down in that comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the description box below.
Yes, indeed. And before we got rudely interrupted by the normal introduction kind of stuff, you know, we're doing the draft. And to be honest with you, NJ, there's a couple of things we need to address before we actually get onto this video. And that is, I think the first thing we need to address is there really any need for a draft? Now that Johnny Ace is GM of both shows, do we really need a draft? Do you think it's about time that the rosters just merged now? Or what are your thoughts?
Well, yes and no. Yes, the show should merge because with one GM, he's kind of allowing anything to happen. It's his, he owns both of them. But at the same time, no, because obviously the whole touring going one place to another,
yes.
And also it makes trying to, or they're meant to, make one show have their stuff going on and Raw have their stuff going on instead of trying to combine them both, so it's a big mess in some way.
Yeah, and with the Super Shows as well, you get SmackDown Superstars appearing on Raw. So it just blurs the line between the brands a little bit. But we're going to try our best here to try and create as good as draft as we can. I think what we should do is we should outline our, you know, what we're going to try and do in this draft. And I think I put it best when I say that as the SmackDown representative, I'm trying to get some more star power into the brand. I'm also trying to bring in some more younger guys that SmackDown can showcase a lot more because they have, let's face it, a lot more time to devote to younger guys than Raw. That's essentially what I'm going to try and do with this draft. What are you going to try and do with your draft, NJ? You're going to try and bring in as bigger names as possible, literally and figuratively?
Well, the way I'm going to do it is we've so far got the best stuff going on in Raw.
Yeah.
I'm thinking SmackDown, their wrestlers who have progressed on their show now need something bigger in their career. So why not come to my show and get into the main event, get built up into a show where millions and millions are going to see you.
Indeed, with the ratings as they are, generally 4 to 5 million people watch that show every week, whereas SmackDown is generally around about the 3 million mark. But as the SmackDown representative, I do just want to try and get a little bit more star power there. And even though it's the B show, I just want to make it a little bit more enjoyable to watch and have a couple more names there as well. So I think it's best to start right now because SmackDown generally always get the bad end of the stick, as we saw in the 2011 draft. So I'm getting the first pick. I don't give a shit what you say. I'm getting the first pick this time. Right, what I want to do on SmackDown, I want to take a guy from Raw who was previously a top heel on SmackDown, but hasn't really, in my opinion, fulfilled his destiny, so to speak, on Raw. So I'm going to take none other than Alberto Del Rio from Raw onto SmackDown, and I'm going to try and make him my top heel. I've got Orton and Sheamus, the baby faces. I need some top heels to support these two baby faces because the belt, in my opinion, is going to be on Sheamus for a long time, and we need to give him some heels. So in my opinion, the first guy I want to pick is going to be my top heel on SmackDown is none other than Alberto Del Rio.
Well, two things I want to say about that is you've got Kane who's become a top heel, but you do need more to progress now. And Del Rio, we're not using him in the best way possible. He seems to like SmackDown, so he should swerve your way and build up his career on SmackDown again.
Yeah, and like I said in the beginning, but he's a younger talent. I want to nurture Alberto Del Rio again, so he can actually next time he can actually get drafted to Raw and can actually, you know, fulfill his destiny, fulfill his potential. So I want to build him up on SmackDown as one of my top heels on there. Your next pick, your first pick?
My first pick, this guy, yes, he's not actually gone for the World Heavyweight Championship, but I think he deserves more than that because obviously the way he can build up on SmackDown, and that is none other than Wade Barrett.
Yes, the guy is essentially going to be a main eventer for WWE anyway, so why not stick him on the Raw? I mean, he was originally on the Raw Super Show with Nexus. He did some great work there. They put him on SmackDown. We kind of like declined him a bit, but then we built him up from Survivor Series onwards. I think Barrett, even though he's injured, has got that momentum as they do want to put some real push behind him to be on the A show, in my opinion. So I think Barrett on the A show is a perfect fit.
Yes, the only problem I have with them is that you never gave him the World Heavyweight Championship shot.
I tried to tell Teddy Long, but unfortunately, he didn't really buy me as a Brit. I'm sorry.
But he would have been a good World Heavyweight Champion for your show,
definitely.
but now he's going to come onto our show, and we're going to give him what he deserves, which is a WWE Championship shot.
You can have him. My next pick, I want to bring another heel to this show, and I think this guy, in my opinion, could definitely be a top heel on Raw, and he has been a top heel on Raw, but lately he's been kind of buried a little bit. So I want to, and he's just bringing himself back up now, and I think the perfect brand for Miz would be Smackdown. I think Smackdown needs a bit more of that pizzazz and that sort of that promo and that charisma that Miz brings to the brand. And I think, although he was a good heel on Raw, I think Raw, as we're going to see by this draft that we're going to do, is going to have enough heels, and I need to bring some heels to SmackDown. As let's face it, the two main baby faces, Punk and Cena for you, and Sheamus and Orton for me, aren't going to move anywhere because we need the top baby faces on the show. So we need to bring some heels, and I think Miz could suit SmackDown very well, in my opinion.
And when it comes to great mic workers, at the moment we've got The Rock, we've got Cena's getting there, we've got Punk there, we've got still Miz minute Jericho. So I do think you need to get more people who can bring in attention, do great promos. So we'll give you the Miz. That'd be a right choice to take, to give him promos, build stuff up, and help you show yes.
Yeah, and I think putting him in a feud with like a Sheamus or an Orton would work for SmackDown anyway. And he is a big name, as he was the WWE champ for 6 years. Bloody hell, I wish 6 months. And he did main event WrestleMania 27. So there we go. We need some star power. I think Miz could be that star power. What is your next pick, NJ?
The next pick, he keeps going back and forward in some places, and he's giving some hints that he wants to be on Raw. And that is none other than Mark Henry. Because with Mark Henry, with the big guy he was on SmackDown, going through that dominant streak, you built up really well. But I still think now he's been built up to this monster heel again. He should be moved to Raw and do some like big monster on Raw, this big SmackDown face on Raw. Yeah,
exactly. And I think, to be honest with you, he's on Raw at the moment with CM Punk, and he's even though this is going out after Raw, we had that no count out disqualification match against CM Punk. So I don't see. I mean, we did build him up as this big heel on SmackDown, but he's since kind of gone downhill a little bit. And he's, to be honest with you, I think a guy like Mark Henry, who's been built up on SmackDown, could go to Raw. And I think, to be honest with the people I'm bringing in, I'm sure we'd miss him because he is a big heel character that a guy like SmackDown could do. I mean, we saw the ratings went through the roof when he was the champion. But I think Mark Henry, the way he is right now, he's still kind of building himself back up, and I think Raw could be a good show for him. I think they could use him, even though they have a lack of baby faces on that show.
That is the case. But who's your next pick?
My next pick. Oh God, you don't want to know what my next pick is, NJ. But I'll tell you out there. My next pick is none other than the show off. Even though everyone can do a handstand, including me. It's Dolph Ziggler, and you want to know why I want to pick Dolph Ziggler to go to SmackDown?
I am curious, because, to be honest, all we see him as a mid-carder, that's it.
Oh, well, you see him as a mid-carder. I see him as a flourishing upper mid-carder. I think Dolph Ziggler has a lot to offer the WWE if they push him in the correct way, and I don't think Raw, in my opinion, has really got a room for a guy like Dolph Ziggler unless it's on a temporary main event basis. So I want to use Dolph Ziggler as either like a top mid-card champion or a guy in the upper mid-card that can feud with, say, an Orton or something like that, just because I think he does have a lot to offer the company, and I think on SmackDown, he could definitely be showcased better, as there'll be more time for guys like him to be there. And I think when he was originally on SmackDown, he was done very well. Then he went to Raw, and all of a sudden his profile just went down, in my opinion. So I think sending him to SmackDown to try and showcase himself a little bit more, to build himself up to a position where he could be a future main eventer, really concentrate on his character and everything, I think a move to SmackDown could be very good for Dolph Ziggler. I would have good use for him on SmackDown.
Because the thing with Dolph, we have seen him on Super shows going against like Orton, that put on great matches, good length matches. So maybe SmackDown will be a better build-up for him, even wherever he starts to where he should be in SmackDown.
And who would your next pick be, NJ?
None other than The Big Show. I don't take another big guy, but I'm seeing him possibly losing the Intercontinental back to Cody Rhodes. Because The Big Show would have had his moment at WrestleMania, and Cody Rhodes would still be able to progress with the IC Championship. And plus, a big guy like Big Show on Raw would obviously, I think he would dominate stuff and get back to a good, put people over as candidate for Raw.
Yeah, and I think he's shown himself as a good mid-carder on SmackDown. As much as I would like to have him on SmackDown, as he is a real credible babyface, I think Raw, to be honest with you, both shows need babyfaces, but I can understand taking Big Show to Raw as long as Cody stays on SmackDown, my show, and keeps that IC belt. That would be a dream come true for me. So to be honest with you, the whole Big Show thing is a mere trade-off as long as I can keep Cody Rhodes and that IC Championship belt.
Well, if we do turn this around a little bit, just do it another way around, because obviously this is before Extreme Rules. If Big Show retains the IC Championship, obviously will get
the IC belt.
IC belt.
And I'd get Santino! Yay! Woohoo! A bit of Santino, and then you've got Funkasaurus, I can have Santino, but there we go. My next pick, after picking all these heels, I do need to pick a babyface, and I think a good babyface to pick for SmackDown would be R-Truth. Simply because of the reason that I think on Raw, he was once the third top babyface after his feud with Miz, and they kind of dropped the ball with him a little bit. I mean, you've got Kofi, I think splitting this tag team up, because they're not really going to go anywhere as a tag team, in my opinion. And I think R-Truth has a lot to offer in singles competition, whether it be as a babyface or whether it be as a heel. And I think, and again, on SmackDown, it's another one of those guys who I think could be showcased a lot better and in a lot higher a spot on SmackDown. And I think he's a guy who's deserving of the exposure on SmackDown, to be honest. R-Truth.
Well, the problem I have with the 2 picks we've just done is if, let's say I do get Big Show and that, the way we're looking at it is that you're going to get Santino, and that's going to split up a tag team there with the tag team that's just been built, which is pretty sad. But then we'll get, as you've just said, you'll get Truth, and that's broke another tag team. That's broke 2 tag teams.
But the tag teams aren't really going anywhere that much, especially Kofi and Truth. Let's face it.
Certainly, but it's still a tag team which WWE lack. But again, it would be a good stepping stone for him to rebuild himself up in SmackDown.
And Kofi could still do very well in your mid card. Let's not forget.
He could do indeed. Yes.
What about your next pick, NJ?
This person will be a surprise return because he went away, came back, went away again. But it's been none other than Christian, who would make Spotlight back on Raw. And yes, he won't build up the best on SmackDown because of his injury. But on Raw, I think he would do wonders to rebuild himself back up or back into the mid-card. So
yeah,
good point.
I agree with you. I think in the mid-card, he could be very good going against guys like Kofi Kingston or, heaven forbid, like an Alex Riley or something. I don't know. But I think I do think Christian is a good fit for Raw, mainly because he's been around a while. He's kind of like Mark Henry. He's an established name. He was once a big guy for SmackDown in his feud with Orton, even though he was kind of buried. But I mean, he could do good on Raw. I mean, I'd have no problems putting Christian on Raw as long as I can have my next pick, which is a surprise pick. It's supposed to be like a surprise for the YouTubers, and I bet you can't guess who I'm going to pick. But I'd have as my last minute pick, and we must explain though. The reason why Raw is only getting 4 picks and SmackDown is only getting 5 picks is because I think we can both agree, even though you're all Raw and I'm for SmackDown, that SmackDown need more star power than Raw right now, don't they? The rosters are very lopsided, and SmackDown has really got the sharp end of the stick on this one.
Well, with my show being the best show there is on TV, SmackDown does need to up its game. So yes, you can have another pick.
Definitely Eric Bischoff, as I'm a very sympathetic babyface representative with my short haircut and my my lack of beard and my lovely tie, but there we go. So my 5th pick, and I want to do this purely for surprise, and this guy is injured right now, but I would pick Rey Mysterio. I think he does have a place on Raw, but I think he was always better on SmackDown, in my opinion. I'm feuding with guys like Cody Rhodes, etc. I always thought Rey Mysterio added something more to SmackDown than he did to Raw. I think SmackDown highlights his high-flying ability more, in my opinion. They would definitely give him a spot, and to be honest with you, you've got Big Show as a 3rd babyface. I want Rey Mysterio as my 3rd babyface, especially as Rey Mysterio can do anything from mid-card to main event. Kind of like Big Show, he can be mid-card to main event. So I think Big Show and Big Show and Rey Mysterio can be 2 guys, even though Rey Mysterio is injured at the moment, that can be our like mid-card main event faces, which I think both brands do need, but we're just switching them around. And I think, to be honest, Big Show let's face it, they're both big names, and I think Big Show could do very well on Raw. And I think Rey Mysterio always had a better place on SmackDown, in my opinion. What do you think of that pick, NJ?
Well, with Rey Mysterio being the guy he is, we've seen in the past, he is a guy that can put people over, put on great main event matches or mid-card matches, whatever you want to put him. And I really think that SmackDown could do with putting, because SmackDown is the show to put people over before maybe progressing to my show.
Yep.
So putting Rey Mysterio on your show to progress the heels would be a good step for the heels to progress into the main event first of all.
Like Cody Rhodes, like Dolph Ziggler, like guys that I picked like that Miz, for example, Del Rio. So basically what you're trying to say is I'm just a feeder show for you, basically.
For now, yes.
For now, yeah. But I think with my power, I can take SmackDown to the next level and make it a good show like it was when Mark Henry was champion, for example. The ratings with my drafts are going to go through the roof, but there we go. So, I mean, I think we've done a pretty good draft work there. We've addressed the issues we were trying to address, whether or not WWE will do the rest of the drafts, I guess. But I think I'm pretty pleased with my draft picks just because I want to see young talent on the show. I want to see, like, the Zigglers getting highlighted. I want to see, the Miz's, the Del Rios getting highlighted on SmackDown. And I think with guys like Barrett and Henry and Big Show and Christian, I think you've got a fair share of star power there as well, which is a nice little trade-off, really, because I think the younger guys are always better on SmackDown, and the bigger names are always going to be better on an A show like Raw.
Yes, the pick we're getting, like Barrett, yes, he never went for World Heavyweight, but I do think with the ones I'm picking, they do need to be like stepping up to a place where they can do more on Raw than they do on SmackDown. But all I can say is, obviously, there are loads more wrestlers in the pick. So share your thoughts on who would belong to SmackDown or who should be on Raw.
Yeah, give us your thoughts. I mean, these are just our opinions, guys. If you have different opinions or different ideas, please let us know down in the comment section below. What you would do. And while you're there, actually, just pick which brand you like better. I'd love to hear that. Which brand do you think was better? Who do you think made the better drafts? Who do you think made the better argument? I would love to know your thoughts, and I would be surprised if it was all NJ, but there we go. Hey, I'm just a guy trying to make a point here on a feeder show to your show, you bastard.
Thank you very much. But the one thing we've got to remember, people, is technically we're both on the same show thanks to John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're both on the same show, so we should be working together, really, shouldn't we? There we go. I guess that is a moral for the day. Good best friends should always work together and never be mortal enemies and feud in professional wrestling. So there we go, or even on YouTube. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like I said, get your comments in the comment section below. We hope you enjoyed this video. The draft should be, I believe, next week, so we look forward to that. It's unofficial, official. I don't really know what's going on with it, but I guess we'll know soon, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, outro please, NJ.
Well, thank you very much, people. You've heard it from John Laurinaitis and me, Eric Bischoff. Two heels work together. And all say, till next time, people. Goodbye.